Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal, and the next World of Warcraft expansion, The War Within, has recently been announced during BlizzCon. And just like every other expansion before it, shortly after the expansion announcement came the pre-orders, allowing you to pre-order different versions of the expansion, which come with a variety of bonuses, from a level 70 boost to the new Algarian Stormchaser Dragon Riding Mount, a new cosmetic armor set, but also other collectibles such as pets, toys, new Hearthstone, as well as other bonuses such as a guaranteed beta access to The War Within. However, some of the items within the pre-order bonuses aren't obtainable with just a purchase, but instead are earned through in-game content, such as an enhanced version of the armor set, new dragon riding races, as well as a unique character title. So in today's video, I wanted to put together this little guide to make sure that you don't miss out on any of your pre-purchase goodies. But right before we get into today's video, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. However, the more of you remind, the more of you do, so let's keep it going. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell if you're watching these videos anyway, especially if you want to get more regular content regarding the next upcoming World of Warcraft expansion, The War Within. If you decided to pre-purchase the Heroic or the Epic Edition, both of those come with a new Skychaser Dragon Riding Mount, or what is being referred to in the next expansion as Dynamic Flying instead. And just like all of your other dragon mounts, this one also comes with a variety of unique customization options, from different color schemes to armor sets, as well as different accents and detailed customizations. But this new dynamic flying mount is also unique from all the other dragons, since it comes with its own unique riding skill. Instead of the original Whirling Surge ability, it instead has a Lightning Rush, whereas dragons will spend 3 vigor in order to rush forward a short distance at high speeds, the Lightning Rush is instead a little bit more potent, as your griffin rushes forward at incredible speeds for a good amount of time, but the griffin does become very difficult to control during that rush ability. Lightning Rush also doesn't cost any vigor to use, but it instead needs to accumulate lightning charges, which you build up by flying very close near walls and mountains. This ability also allows this mount to partake in very unique dragon races. When you first hop on your Algarian Stormchaser mount, you'll be delivered a quest within the Dragon Isles to participate in some additional races. Finishing these races will come with a variety of rewards, like being able to unlock an enhanced version of the armor set that comes with a pre-purchase bonus. Only this time, the armor set is supercharged with lightning that keeps jumping from shoulder to shoulder, around the belt, and all the other metal pieces. To begin the quest, head back to the Skytop Observatory in the Waking Shore. Now, to unlock the enhanced armor set, you only need to finish these races. It doesn't matter whether you finish them fast or slow, as long as you've done them once, you'll be able to unlock the armor. But being able to complete these races with a gold timer will also unlock you an achievement as well as a unique title that comes with a mount as well. Completing these races with a gold time is actually not that difficult, as long as you learn the perfect places where you should use the Lightning Surge ability. And in this video, I want to show you the routes that I took and where I used the ability in order to get some of the best times possible. Now, the very first race that you do in the Waking Shore acts basically as a tutorial to how to use the ability properly. Essentially, what you want to do is fly next to walls and next to crevices as closely as possible without hitting them directly, and then you will use your first Lightning Rush ability once you get over an open stretch of water where you don't have any walls or anything to glide against for a considerable amount of time. And the next time you should use the Lightning Rush ability is when you're flying over that same waterway. Once you get past this checkpoint specifically, because there will be a bit of a steep turn and you want to make sure you're not having to turn while your griffin is rushing forward uncontrollably. Then with a couple of flaps upwards, you should be able to finish the race with a golden time. The race within Unarmed Plains will start out a bit slow, but off the bat you'll be able to easily build up some of your static charges. Once you start flying away from the mountain across the river, that is the best time to use the Lightning Rush ability to cover as much distance as possible. From that point forth, you'll end up flying around the mountain near the Maruk Centaur village, and you should be able to use another Lightning Rush ability as you're leaving that mountain to fly back over the waterway. The main concept here is to use Lightning Rush ability as often as possible. You could either try to hold it for later or use it as early as possible, but as long as you're not using it while making some sketchy turns, then you should be able to make the golden time for this race easily. When it comes to the race in Thaldraszus, there are a couple of good spots where you can use the Lightning Rush ability. However, you can use it at least 3 times in this flight if you end up hugging along the walls and the mountains the entire time. Your first Lightning Rush is never really going to be all that ideal, but the earlier you can use it, the better, because you end up getting yourself a Lightning Rush reset shortly afterwards. This one can get a little bit tricky with all the trees around in the very first half of the race, but try to see if you can avoid them as best as possible. Another good place to use a Lightning Rush ability is right about here. If you're able to stick next to walls and build up all 10 static charges, then you should be able to give yourself a nice boost, and if you continue flying next to walls, you should be able to get yourself one more Lightning Rush before the end of the race. Towards the end of the race, there are some weird turns that are not ideal when it comes to trying to rush your way to the end, but if you do want to save one more charge for the actual finish line, then that should help you make enough time in order to get gold timer. Next, we have the race in Azure Span, where it starts out really slow and has a handful of places where you can really use a Lightning Rush to your advantage, but it is going to be only very specific areas where you want to do so, because a lot of this route is going to involve lots of turns where a Lightning Rush is just going to make you miss some of the checkpoints. Specifically, when you get to this point right here, you're going to be sitting on a full Lightning Rush available, but you can't really utilize it unless you want to risk missing some of these turns early on. The best you can do in this scenario is hold on to a Lightning Rush until you level out, where you won't have any weird turns right about here, where you could utilize the ability properly to cover quite a bit of distance. Another good spot to use a Lightning Rush ability is when you're flying over the Azure Span Fusion camps, which allows you to efficiently cover quite a bit of distance on your way towards the finish line. Then I decided to take these races over into the Zarelek caverns, which are pretty straightforward. The Zarelek zone, as the name implies, is very cavernous. That means there's going to be always walls around you to help you build up static charges quite easily. The first Lightning Rush you want to focus on using is for this big open area. The next one is going to be shortly after near the Shimmering Towers, and then shortly after you'll use it again once you start making your way up the waterfalls. And I feel like out of the 6 races, besides the one in the Awakened Shore, this one is probably one of the easiest ones. And finally, we have the Forbidden Reach, which might be one of the more difficult ones because of some of the twists and turns that you would see towards the end of the race. Technically, this race is long enough for you to be able to use Lightning Rush 3 times almost in a row. However, at the very end, there's just not a lot of place to maneuver around, so I'll usually save it towards the very tail end. But the first rush is perfect when you're trying to cross this chasm right here, which allows you to start burning all these rushes as early as possible. Next time I would use mine is over the caldera, because it gives you a nice big stretch of just forward flying space without too many twists or turns to really mess up your momentum. And towards the very tail end of the race, it does have a lot of twists and turns where there's no great place for you to use the rush ability, but when heading towards the final few checkpoints, you should use the rush ability to guarantee yourself that gold time. And with all that out of the way, you should have unlocked yourself the enhanced armor set, as well as a unique title and an achievement for getting gold in all of the Storm Griffin circuits. As per usual, if you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description of every single video and live stream, we have a link to our Discord community channel. Probably the best place to reach out to me directly in case you want to let me know what you thought about this video or hang out with the rest of the community to discuss some of the upcoming changes. Join our Discord to become part of the community. But otherwise, thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all of your thoughts down below. And as always, I'll see all of you guys in another video.